He's the first hero of the 21st century, and he's our only hope. Welcome to I Hope You Suffer.
I don't think that's true. I don't think he was the first hero of the 21st century.
How dare you question canon films?
That's fair.
This is episode 155 of I Hope You Suffer. My name is Nathan.
I'm Kit.
And I'm Katie.
And this week we watched Cyborg from 1989, a movie picked by our guest, the star of Christmas, Stephen Kostanski.
Hello. That's thanks for that deep cut.
Yeah, that's
What the fuck is happening?
A big starring role. For
yeah.
Sure. Also, I am Santa at the end of Cowboys. So.
Yes, another good one. Yeah, so we reached out to Steven and let him pick a movie, and he did not disappoint.
Well, I mean, I have a very long history with this movie in that I just keep coming back to it, and I don't really know why. I gave it a rewatch last week, but the time before that I watched it, I was trying to show my girlfriend, and I kept saying, like, oh, this movie's so great, you're going to love it, and I fell asleep halfway through. It's a movie, like, it's a very specific wavelength you got to be on to be getting anything out of it, because it's so weird. It's just a weird movie, and that's why I love it. And I think it puts me in a lot of ways that are subconscious, that I look at some of my filmography and go like, oh yeah, that's from Cyborg. So yeah.
I was gonna say it kind of like obviously not the same movie, but the beginning of it sort of really gives me like Manborg vibes.
Yeah. Oh, totally. That kind of setup with text and like a matte painting is my favorite way to start any movie. That opening narration from Fender. So perfect.
Amazing.
I like the misery. I like this world. I scream that at random. Yeah, just love it. It's
hard to beat his voice too.
Yeah, it's just like decisions that I can't wrap my brain around. Fascinating to me. Like,
he's the perfect mix of like that really incredible deep voice and someone who just has no idea what they're doing acting wise.
It's also like a character that's meant to be so intimidating, but then they give him weird lines. You think I'm going to swim all the way to Atlanta? Oh, I can't swim. Like that. I hate the water. Like, you don't give a character that line and are like, yeah, people are going to be, this guy's a badass.
He does the like Australian accent. It's like, ahoy, mateys! Like,
yeah,
what?
Ahoy, stanka, mates. That part.
Yeah.
The weird part of okay. I mean, we're jumping all over the place chronologically. But if we could just dive into that moment for a second, that clearly felt like an ADR line after the fact. So they decided, like, yeah, give like a little bit of like, just spice that accent up a little bit. It's not a thing on set, it's a thing after the fact they decided. So again, it's like a decision I don't understand. But
Bender can be funny. He's a silly guy.
Yeah, he likes to look around on his sometimes.
I've been watching like a lot of 80s and early 90s Italian horror this week because I've been watching through the quote unquote demons movies.
Oh right.
And so the ADR in this movie, just the dubbing of like the children, is on par, if not somehow worse than most of the Italian stuff I've watched.
Well, what's also weird is that they like dub an ADR bunch of stuff, but with Van Damme, so many of his lines are like, "Yeah, that's a keeper," like, and they keep the original audio. Like what do you see, Gibson? Fender, like that. Like his like can't even throw one line, like one word properly, and they're like, "This is great. This guy's a star."
I mean,
I wonder how much of it was like because he did that thing, we've talked about on previous episodes where he kind of just like took over editing or whatever. And I wonder like how much of the weird choices as far as like the dialogue goes was just him being like, oh yeah, this will make me look even cooler.
Yeah. Oh, this ponytail's really gonna. This is really gonna sell my character's flashbacks.
Yeah,
His like
his hair in the
cosplay
flashback
wig.
is wild.
It's
Yeah.
so bad. My if we weren't saying real names, my name was going to be Jean-Claude Van Damme's Full Metal Alchemist cosplay wig because that was definitely my favorite part.
It's a weirdly like anime feeling movie for a movie that to me kind of like predates North America being even aware of anime, because it just seems to have that kind of weird offbeat sensibility about everything where no normal scene feels normal. Everything is heightened, and yeah, it feels, I don't know, it has like almost like Ninja Scroll moments to it. But
Yeah, and also like the fashion too is like straight out
yes.
of like an 80s, like an old 80s anime.
Yeah, like Brick. What's the guy at the beginning? He Brick Bardo, the guy that's like, I think we lost Fender and his pirates.
Yeah.
I think so.
Like his kind of got like a Fist of the North Star thing going with his outfit a little bit. So, do you guys know like the history of what this movie was going to be originally, or like what those sets were going to be? Because there's like a whole story to that too.
I read a little bit about it, but you can, yeah.
So it was, and people feel free to cross-check this on Wikipedia or whatever, but from what I read, it was a lot of these sets were going to be for a planned Masters of the Universe sequel that didn't happen. And so Canon just had all this stuff, and Albert Pune was like, I can make a movie with all of this. And then just like kind of wrote a thing around what they had and came up with this weird kind of dystopia, like post-apocalyptic thing. But I guess, yeah, it was like post-canon, like it was the start of their downfall post-Masters of the Universe, because that was kind of like their biggest flop, I guess. But they were really banking on it being a success and started building sets for it. And when it tanked, they were like, well, we got to do something with this. And that's part of the reason why Cyborg exists.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
looks
the
like
other thing I read about was that that was also supposed to be like a live action Spider-Man, and they wanted to like this director wanted to film both of them at the same time, and I was like, how does that work?
Yeah, it was both. I believe it was Master of the Universe and Spider-Man were things that they had lined up. Like it seemed like Canon in that era had things like that they were shopping around to like film markets, and then also kind of preemptively building and prepping stuff for that would fall apart. So I think it was just like a perfect storm of all these different things coming together and leading to whatever this movie even is.
what a wonderful company. Like I feel like any movie I start that I like, if I didn't know what it was and I see Canon come up, I'm like, all right, this, even if it's trash, is going to be completely watchable.
It's
Oh,
so
yeah.
sold.
It's like
It's-
them at Full Moon. I'm like, all right, I know this is probably not going to be good, but I'm going to at least be entertained.
I
You're
feel
in
like there's
for a ride.
like an effort that most companies, especially now, don't put in, where it's like, with Canon, you're going to get like pyro and roundhouse kicks and like just there's going to be stuff like, and same with Full Moon. It's like you're going to get a bunch of little creatures of some kind, whether they're like Ouija's or shrunken heads or whatever. And yeah, there's good, like it's going to be packed with ideas, which I feel like Canon movies have, and that's a thing that I really miss, and I don't think a lot of companies, nobody thinks like that anymore. It's a very it doesn't lead to like quality films, but it leads to watchably fun movies.
So like this, I had a cousin, still have a cousin. I don't know why I said it like that, but my cousin was like obsessed with Jean-Claude Van Damme when we were kids.
As you should be.
And I don't know how I never saw this as a kid, but I feel like if this would have been one of the first movies of his I saw, I would have been like, this dude sucks. Like,
He does bring a lot to the table on this movie, admittedly. Aside from like at the end, it's a lot of kicking and flexing, but he spends a lot of the movie like nailed up on that cross.
Well,
Also, I have a question. Have you guys seen the like director's cut of this movie or heard of it. Like there's a cut called,
No.
I think it's called Slinger,
No.
that Albert Pune put out. I was planning on revisiting it, and I just didn't get around to it in time for this. But it is like the director's actual vision for what the movie was supposed to be, and it's got like even more religious overtones. I've watched it
Oh my
years
God.
ago,
Ooh,
but might be worth seeking out.
yeah,
Uh,
I'm definitely looking that up. Yeah, because I saw
Going-
like there's like the alternative names for this, and it like Slinger stuck out. I was like, why that? Because it's like
Yeah.
Kyborg, Cyborg's 009, Masters of the Universe 2 Cyborg, and then Slinger, and I was like, what?
Well, because I guess that's what like Van Damme's character type is in the movie is Slinger. Because there's that guy at the end that tries to fight him. That he like crosses his arms and goes, "I kill slingers," and then Van Damme kills
Oh,
him.
that's right. Yeah.
Well, in the very beginning, like when the bodyguard gets owned and the cyborg lady or robot lady or whatever she is, it's called Cyborg, so she's a cyborg, obviously. But he says something like "find a slinger" or whatever, and then Gibson Rickenbacker shows up.
Yep, great names: Gibson Rickenbacker, Fender Tremolo, Brick
Love
Barlow,
it.
all the stupid names, all like musical instrument related for some reason.
Yeah, what a weird thing.
That's
it
what
brought me great joy.
Hmm.
I get it. But it's also like a weirdly for a movie called Cyborg. Can we all agree that it's like weirdly light on cyborgs?
Yeah,
Yes.
like that's
Yeah.
Absolutely.
so. This was like the watching it for this was the first time I'd seen it, and
Oh.
like I was baffled like halfway through, and I was like, wait, was that just the cyborg of the movie? I
only
thought
halfway.
I assumed JCVD was going to be the cyborg of the title. And then
Right.
like I saw that and I was like, "Oh, so that's it?"
Well, and also they kind of suggest that Fender something's up with him because his eyes are weird,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but they don't expand on it or explain it.
I assume it's cuz he's wearing 6 sunglasses all the time.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, but they're dusty as hell, so he's got to have some kind of special eye situation to be able to like see through them.
Well, thankfully
Yeah,
he's covered in chainmail to protect him from whatever he's going to trip over while wearing those sunglasses. He's
That's
covered.
true.
That chainmail look is with the dreadlocks is
Yeah.
incredible.
There's that
it's
wide
strong.
shot of all the bad guys, like his whole like pirate squad walking close to the beginning with the really bad like synth music trying to give it weight and crumbling. And I just is such a funny lineup of like wrestler dudes. It's not threatening at all. Like it's such a like group of cosplayers like head of Comic-Con. I love it.
Yeah.
A rejected lineup of like American Warrior or American Gladiator type
Yeah.
dudes.
Yeah, like if they leaned a little more post-apocalyptic with it, that's what it would be.
I just need to point it out that Albert Pune also directed Alien from LA, which is another perfect movie.
I don't think I've ever seen that all the way through. Who's in that?
Kathy Ireland.
Right.
It's not great, but I love it because it's extremely cheesy and it's like her in the middle of the earth with just like weird creatures and like fucked up people. So it's pretty fun.
I'll have to give that a watch. I mean, Pune's got a very interesting filmography, and he's a guy who like you can like knock on the quality of his stuff, but like he put out a pretty like prolific catalog of movies. Like
Yeah.
it's like a
Like-
lot of shit.
He's got like 50 movies and like honestly for the most part a lot of the stuff that he looks like he made for probably canon I would watch.
Yep.
Like
well, I mean,
Dollman.
Dollman's great. He did Nemesis, right?
Yeah, he did like 3 or 4 of them.
Yes. Actually, I should know that because I just bought Nemesis on Blu-ray because I have not watched in a while. And what's that one company? I want to say like MVA or something. It's like a Blu-ray.
Oh
company.
yeah,
MVD. Yeah.
MVD, yeah. They have a nice Blu-ray of it, so I was like, I'm gonna treat myself.
He made 2 movies with Snoop Dogg and 3 with Ice-T. What a king.
Wait, did he
I'm
do?
also
I want to just double check one thing. He did a Seagal movie, didn't he?
Let's see. I feel like he probably had to have.
Like wasn't it? Was it? I want to say Ticker.
Figured, yes.
Oh, yep.
I feel.
Yeah,
Look, go ahead.
Yep.
yeah.
Tom Sizemore, Nas, and Steven Seagal.
Holy shit!
Wow.
What a lineup.
Okay, I'm adding
And
that.
Dennis Hopper?
Oh yeah.
That's amazing. I'm watching this immediately.
Even the trailer that's just playing on the IMDb page has me hooked. So
He did the 1990 Captain America movie, which I cannot recommend enough because the Red Skull in
Yeah.
it looks wild.
I had no
Right.
idea, but you watched that sort of recently, right?
Yeah, I watched it for Judesploitation.
Yeah.
it's a movie that I wish was more fun. It's like the opening, the start of it in the 40s or whatever is great.
Yeah.
Admittedly, hard. And then you can tell they're like, okay, so we can't afford that complex Red Skull makeup anymore, so we'll make kind of human, but not really. Like he kind of looked like Jigsaw from that one Punisher movie.
Yes.
Yeah, there is lots to love about that movie. It's definitely got its moments.
I'm like most of it is pretty terrible, but I'm on board with like the 80s Marvel nonsense, like the Fantastic Four movie I think from like the 90s.
Yep. I remember as a kid seeing like a trailer for that. It was on like Entertainment Tonight or something. They showed it, and I remember for years being like, "So when's that Fantastic Four movie coming out?" I realized that it was like some kind of tax scam for Roger Corman.
Yeah.
Write something off, so he made a Fantastic Four movie to keep the license or something.
Yeah, and like
So it never
didn't
got-
tell any of
but-
the actors.
It better come out. Where is it?
Leave it to Roger Corbin.
Of course. But I do like with the Punisher movie with Dolph. That was a canon movie, right?
I think so. I'm not 100% sure. I watched that in June as well. I also back that movie hard.
Yeah, that movie's great. I mean, him not having a skull on his shirt aside, it's a pretty fun 80s action.
It is no, New World Pictures.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But it seems like it should be a canon movie.
Oh, 100%. I think I assumed until just now that it was. All right, back to Cyborg. My favorite thing in this movie, for some reason, is the Jean-Claude Van Damme crucifixion scene on a giant fucking
That
broken
makes
boat.
sense.
For
Yeah, on a ship.
And now knowing that it was supposed to be a Masters of the Universe sequel, I'm just baffled as to what this boat was going to be for.
Yeah, I
They
know.
were gonna crucify someone in that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
probably.
He-Man was going to be on that.
They're going to put man at arms up there.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing is, like, I read that, and then I was trying to make sense of, like, well, what was the, like, He-Man movie they were trying to make? Like what were these, what sets were built? Like, it was, like, a destroyed city street, I guess, at the end. The boat. Like, what? I don't know. I'm having trouble slotting that into a He-Man story. So,
Like-
I feel like there's more details out there that we need to uncover.
A He-Man movie in essentially a desert wasteland sounds incredibly boring.
Yeah, I mean, I could see it working in like a Shogun Assassin kind of way, where it's just him like traveling through the wastelands of Eternia, murdering people. But that sounds a little adult for
They just
an adaptation of a toy line and a cartoon.
they just like hard pivot to like Conan the Barbarian.
Right.
I mean, I'm surprised that they haven't done that yet. Though I have not watched this new show. Maybe it does that. I don't
Well,
know.
but there's a lot of discourse around that because He-Man is killed in the first episode, and everyone's just like every like weird dude who can't handle things being different is just like, you ruined my childhood. This isn't a He-Man show. So
Yeah, it seems to be getting a bit of the Last Jedi treatment.
Yeah.
So just wait for the conversation to die down and then maybe give it an unbiased watch.
I'm gonna watch it at like because they've just released like the first half, and then they're gonna release like the second half, like
Okay.
at some point later in the year, I think. So I'm just gonna wait till the whole thing's out there and watch it. But like, it sounds interesting at least. I'm not like, I don't necessarily care about He-Man other than like loving Masters of the Universe movie as a kid.
Yeah, to me that's where it all peaked.
Yeah.
It doesn't really get better than that. It doesn't get better than He-Man fighting weird monster dudes in an empty prom gym. Or he hides under the like stadium floor.
Oh, that movie still rules. I watched that recently too. It holds up.
It's one of my favorite tropes, and I applied it to PG, which is the like, we want to tell a big epic fantasy story, but we can't afford to do that, so let's set it in Suburbia for some reason,
Right.
and have all these characters just kind of like knocking around like, I don't know, like storefronts and school gyms and like suburban homes. Like, it's just such a weird image that pursued me through childhood, through like Masters of the Universe and like Suburban Commando, and those types of movies where it's just like fantasy characters like on somebody's driveway is
In a diner.
yeah, exactly. Like a bucket of KFC chicken or something. Like weird things where you're like, I wasn't expecting to see He-Man do that, but okay.
I love it. I'm not even gonna dive into Masters of the Universe. I'll talk about that movie all day. So, like, Katie and Kit, I don't know if we really discussed Cyborg at all when we watched it, other than the last 10 minutes where dude is screaming.
Yeah, I've been
That's
screaming
like
in
the
the
last
group
half
chat.
of the movie. Yeah.
What
I'm just typing at everyone.
what did you guys think of this movie?
I think Steven's right. You have to be in the right mindset for it. Because the first time I watched it, I was like, this is, like, fine. There are moments where it's like, this is just weird enough that I'm vibing with it. But this second run through today, I was like, all right, yeah, this is super bizarre, and I'm real tired, and it low-key rules. I'm very into all of the strange shit that's happening on screen.
What about you, Katie?
I agree with Kit, except the opposite. So the first time I watched this movie, I loved it. So like, geez, I can't even remember when this was at this point. But we did like our second Patreon bonus episode on Jean-Claude Van Damme, where we talked about Hard Target, Replicant, and Alien Uprising. And like around that time, I was like real deep into his movies because we just like randomly started watching them. And this was one of them that I watched just like by myself. And compared to the other ones we were watching, like most of the other ones were just like, I mean, a lot of them aren't normal, but it was just like, you know, Bloodsport, Lionheart, stuff like that. That's just like him in a situation where he has to fight a lot, which is all of them, but it's just like normal circumstances, you know what I mean? And so like, aside from Replicant and Knockoff, this was the first kind of like wacky, I mean, this one's like pretty wacky compared to all the other ones. So I wasn't expecting it really. And I had never heard of it. It just showed up and I watched it and I was like, this kicks ass. The scene where he like does a spin kick and like cuts that guy's neck open with his like boot blade, I was like screaming. I was like here for it. And I really liked it. I mean, I was in the mindset at that point that I was like here for it, but then the second time I watched it, I was tired, and so I was just like, it felt very long, and like the last half of it when they're yelling, when all of it is just like fighting and yelling or whatever, I was like, this movie is like 4 hours long. So I had the opposite. I still really liked it, but I do agree with you. You do have to be, you know, kind of ready for what's coming when you watch it.
It is a bit of a tone poem of a movie where it's like There's not a lot of plot, and not a lot of like no like dialogue driven stuff. It's just kind of like people silently staring at each other, saying like the barest minimum, or what they're saying is total nonsense. And then lots of like traveling. So it's like a thing. I almost compare it to something like Beyond the Black Rainbow, where it's like it just has a feeling that sometimes I like diving into.
Yeah.
If you want like a traditional movie with a plot and characters, I would not recommend it.
So like I like this movie. I think it's just extremely dumb but fun, which is pretty much what I'm looking for if I'm gonna watch like a canon movie. But like
Right.
I think my one complaint is I just wish the fight scenes were edited better.
Yeah, well, I just wish the fights were better.
Yeah.
The movie
Yeah.
deserves better fights because it's like if it doesn't even have that, what does it really have aside from being ridiculous?
Yeah, like
Yeah.
I feel like if you're casting Jean-Claude Van Damme, you should have, and especially if he went back in and edited this or like was part of the editing process himself, like I like the some of the choices are baffling because it has a very like Iron Fist Netflix editing problem where it's just like there's like 130 edits in like a 30-second fight scene or whatever.
Well, it has kind of a weird peck and paw vibe at times where it's like going between regular speed and slow motion, but like quickly
Yeah.
cut between those things. And like the first time or two, it's okay, but then the gimmick just gets old real fast. It's like every time Van Damme kicks a guy in the gut, it doesn't have to be like fast shot of the kick and then slow shot of the guy going ugh, and like like you don't have to do that with every kick in the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, some weird choices in the edit for sure.
Yeah, it's a bummer because like the fight scenes are like relatively cool otherwise, like setting wise. Like I like the idea of that one and that just like abandoned building, and then the one at the end has like a cool kind of set for it. And like does some interesting things like where he like kicks through the car window to kick
Yeah,
Bender in the
good.
back.
You'll also, I don't know if you guys have this on DVD or not, how you're watching it, but the fight in the like abandoned building with those guys with the like mesh masks, um, according to the chapter selection, those guys are called the Pirates of Menace, which I don't believe is ever said in the movie, but it's a thing that I always latch onto when that scene comes up because it's like a bit of lore in the film that like you don't get, you only get the chapter select.
That's an incredible string of words too.
Yeah.
Like I'm absolutely not going to fight the Pirates of Menace. Thank you though.
No. Mm-mm.
But they get taken out easily, surprisingly.
Yeah.
Not a lot of
Yeah, don't live up to that name.
no.
I also like I appreciate that in a world that we live in where like action stars are like Vin Diesel who refuses to be beat at any fight ever. Like you have Jean-Claude Van Damme just getting his ass handed to him endlessly in this movie.
Constantly. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that does make a difference in a lot of 80s and even 90s action movies. Like it's a bit of the John McClane thing of like you want to see your hero get knocked around. It's just way more relatable.
Yeah.
And also just shows like a progression. Like I love seeing characters that by the end of the movie, they're just like bloody and beaten, and you see them get like different wounds as they go through the film fighting guys. And I feel like this movie has a little bit of that, which is
Well, I love, yeah, to your point, I love that like his kind of like companion, I think her name is Natty, how like he's like, I don't need you to be with me, and it's kind of like, you know, the trope of like the female character being kind of like well, I don't want you around because you might mess up my situation or whatever. But at the end, like towards the end, it's kind of like he probably wouldn't have won if it wasn't for her. So I loved that part of it.
I also, with that relationship, just to piggyback that, I love the scene where they're sitting, I guess they're at like a beach or something, and she like, where she like drops her robe, and he leans in and then like pulls the robe back up, like just like no.
My favorite part about that is that she's kind of like, yeah, she's like offering herself or whatever, and then he just like has a flashback of a time that he had slept with someone else, and then was like, and then it always pans over to like the pirates just like watching through the window, like, heh heh heh, and I'm like, what is happening here?
Well,
because they show it more than once.
what I love about that shot is that yes, it's like 3 times in the movie at least, but every time they show it, it pans over, and then the guy on the far left has to like move the curtain aside to be like, I'm also here. And you think that they'd be like, this is an important shot. We're going to use it at least 3 times. Maybe let's just open that curtain fully so you can see it. But no, every time they show it, you get the like music cue, the like ba-na, and then the guy moves the curtain aside to be like, there's another guy here, you know.
Oh my god, what a fucking perfect filmmaking choice.
There's lots of that.
Yeah.
I also love is like how the dialogue is so sparse that like specific lines really stick out in my brain. Like I love at the beginning when Fender's having it out with Brick Bardo, and Brick goes, go to hell, and Fender goes, been there. And the weird thing is, he then makes a weird noise with his mouth that I always used to imitate. He goes, been there. And like, for some reason, I don't know if that's him like giving like an exasperated huff, but now anytime I quote that, it's always been there.
His
personal favorite Fender line. They're like walking on the trail, and I don't remember what the lady says to him, but he just turns and he goes, "Don't look down on me."
He's the best part of the movie, to be honest.
100%.
Love, he stabs that guy in the face with like a blunt log at one point. I think it's when they're getting the pirate ship, but it's a moment of like off-screen violence that's really unsettling because you don't see it. It's just him lifting up a log, and then he goes, "Ah!" and then slams it out of frame, and you just know that guy's head got mashed real good.
Oh yeah, it's gone.
Just a weird decision on his part to not use, his big knife that he liked to show off.
Yeah.
And do off-screen throat slits with. But yeah, he's like, this guy deserves a log in the face.
Oh man, there was something I was gonna bring up, now I remember what it was, and I'm just thinking about a log in the face. Oh, so I think the one thing I specifically remember when Kit started watching this, that he was just like, he's like, drinking game for Cyborg, take a shot every time they say Atlanta.
Yep.
9 times.
First 10 minutes, you're gone. I'd be hospitalized personally.
I actually kept a tally on the side.
Yeah, I did too.
After you said that.
It was something like 9 or 10, but it was all within the first like 20 minutes. So
that's what I mean. It's like the movie, like it like meanders on its own plot so much that it's like it can't even commit to like its Atlanta plot. Like it feels like, and maybe this warrants me rewatching that Slinger cut, but it really feels like a movie built in editing, where it's like they just had this collection of scenes, and we're like, okay, all the stuff where they're talking about Atlanta, we might as well put that here, and then we'll put some wandering around here. Because like if you think about it, like you map out the progression of their journey through the movie, and like there's no real connection between any of the locations. Like nothing naturally leads to the next thing.
No.
And when you get to Atlanta, it's all like in close up. It's like there's like a doorway with some people and that's it. Like there's not a lot of like, here's the entrance to Atlanta. Like
it's not a big deal for how much they've built it up.
Yeah, and I feel the whole movie is like that, where it throws ideas around with no like wind up or cool down. It just kind of happens, and then they move on to the next kind of half-baked idea.
Well,
I also love the idea that there's just like the last remaining doctors. So there's like 3 doctors just like, hey, and I had no like them going to Atlanta made no sense to me until I read that like that's where the head office of the CDC is, and I was like, okay, guess that makes sense because if someone hasn't seen Cyborg, the whole point of it is that there's like a virus that has like basically killed most of the people, and they're trying to get a cure. Everyone's trying to get the cure or whatever. So like that's the point of the journey. But I was like, nobody says that to us, so it just made no sense to me.
That was another good Fender line, was whenever he's explaining, he wants the cure, and he goes, I'll be a god. Like, just talking to himself, essentially, like, paying no attention to anyone around him.
Yeah, saying he wants to own the cure.
Yeah.
I just like that, like 3/4 of the movie is just, like, weird swamp/desert wasteland, and then they get to Atlanta, and it just looks like Blade Runner-y, I guess, but like just decimated.
It's suddenly a like cyberpunk landscape set in a Walmart parking lot.
Oh, I love it. Does the DVD have an audio commentary?
No, I wish it did.
I want to listen to it so bad if there was one.
We are in the era of every movie getting a special edition. There must be a version out there that's got.
I was gonna say, Scream Factory released a Blu-ray that looks like it has a commentary with Albert Pune on it.
Oh, I'm in.
All right, guess I'll order that right now.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
That's what I just clicked.
Has anybody seen the sequels to this?
Yes. I don't recommend them.
Yeah, they look bad.
The second one is kind of a Predator ripoff for some reason. Then 3 and 4 get into like real heady, like cyberpunk stuff with not a lot of action or plot. Like, I actually tried to watch 3 not that long ago, and I had to shut it. I was like, I don't know what's going on. There's no forward momentum on this. So I feel like maybe 2 is worth revisiting. I know it always used to be on Sci-Fi Channel, and so I'd watch it as a kid because there's like a alien dude that can cloak, and it's killing a bunch of people in a post-apocalyptic landscape. But yeah, I wouldn't try too hard to track it down.
I don't know why, but I just feel like for some reason they would all be on Tubi.
Well, and also I believe all 3 of them are on one Blu-ray set from the same company. I'm sorry. Let me back up for a second. My head was in Nemesis World because I often mix up Nemesis and Cyborg because I feel like I watch them both at the same time. But there are sequels to Cyborg. I used to own the second one. That one has Angelina Jolie in it. I think it was her first role.
What?
Yeah.
Amazing.
And then 3, I think it's called Cyborg 3 The Recycler, I want to say.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at right now.
And I think that one's got some weird cast to it, too. Like, there's, like, real actors in both of them.
Yeah, Malcolm McDowell's in it. And William Catt.
And Richard Lynch is in it. Zach Galligan from Gremlins. Okay. I remember 3 being okay. 2 was a bit of a slog. 2 felt more Johnny Mnemonic than Cyborg. Not of them feel like the first movie. The first movie is such a weird, isolated thing.
Yeah.
It's hard to emulate that. But, maybe 2 and 3 are worth revisiting. And then Nemesis 2, 3, and 4, hard pass on those.
I don't think I've ever seen any of the Nemesis movies, but I feel
Check out I think if you're already on this train, this Albert Pune train, Nemesis it's a solid watch. It's definitely better than Cyborg.
I mean, Vincent Kiln is in like every one of his movies, so I'm in. I watch him run around and scream at people all the time.
Yeah, well, and I think Tim Thomerson he's in Nemesis as well. You can see, like, there's, like, early seeds of Matrix in Nemesis. Like,
Oh.
just very, very faint, but you can tell that they're there. And some, like, really solid action, too. Like, I think, ups the ante in a way that Cyborg kind of disappointed on.
Thomas Jane is also in Nemesis.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep, it's got a weird cast.
That's on Tubi. I'm definitely watching that.
Yep. So
Yeah, for sure.
all aboard the Jane train.
Any
Yeah.
any like final thoughts on Cyborg?
I feel like I got everything out that I had to say about Cyborg.
Katie?
I just hope the director's cut is 40 more minutes of that end fight. I need more screaming.
It's 40 more minutes
wrestling
of
energy.
of Jean-Claude Van Damme trying to get off that cross.
His kid trying to pull up the barbed wire rope.
Oh man, that's brutal.
That part is admittedly pretty intense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I say I recommend it. If you're into 80s goofy action movies, it's you could do much worse than Cyborg.
It's also
Yeah,
one
it's
of
also.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say it's also not the worst Jean-Claude Van Damme movie I've seen.
Which one's the worst, would you say?
I didn't care for Nowhere to Run from '93. And then there's a lot of his movies that have like the same like plot where it's like he's in some kind of army and he escapes to go do such and such. Those aren't normally my favorite, but
Yeah.
I would say, don't you dare say Universal Soldier's bad.
no, I wasn't.
I mean, if you're counting for the fact that he was in it for 3 minutes, Alien Uprising was borderline unwatchable.
I was going to say Alien Uprising, yeah, but actual Jean-Claude movies, I think Nowhere to Run was my least favorite. There's much better ones. He shows his butt in all of them, so take your pick.
I highly recommend Lionheart.
Yes.
You guys
That's
haven't
my
seen
favorite.
that?
Yeah.
That one blindsided me because I hadn't seen it until recently, and it was on Tubi. Shout out to Tubi for being awesome.
Yes.
But yeah, I was like, I'm just gonna put this on because I don't know what else to put on, and I just loved how corny and heartfelt it was. I love what a dork his character is. It was so much more fun in a way that I wasn't expecting it to be. I highly recommend it.
Is Lionheart the one with him dancing in it? Or is that
No, it's Bloodsport.
Is it Bloodsport? No, I think it's Kickboxers, the dancing one.
Oh,
okay, yeah.
There you
That
go.
scene, perfect.
Yeah, he's
Also,
I think for it. Yeah, because he goes to avenge his brother's death, and then he goes and gets drunk at some kind of like riverside pub and fights a bunch of dudes.
yeah. I liked Kickboxer better than Bloodsport, but then I watched like the other Kickboxer sequels. That was great, but Lionheart and Replicant are like two of my favorites. Like, so yeah, I definitely recommend Lionheart also.
Hard target.
I have not seen Replicant. When was that one from? Is that like one of his 2000s like straight to video ones?
I think it was the 90s, like late 90s.
2001.
Oh, well.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah. This one is cool. Well, okay. We did this on our bonus episode, and I think I liked it the most out of everybody because it's like one of the ones where he plays himself as a double, and he's like a clone. He basically plays like a serial killer and then a clone of a serial killer, and it's just like the wackiest thing ever. But I absolutely love it.
Okay, sweet. I'm gonna have to give this a go because big fan of Double Impact. Multiple Van Dammes is always good Van Damme.
And the ones that he plays in this too are just amazing, and I'm pretty sure that it's also on Tubi. So
Okay, sweet. Sold.
Tubi's just out here killing it. Like,
I honestly,
Yeah, low key best.
It's like the early 2000s video store that I didn't realize I missed,
Yeah.
where it's like so much like Asylum crap, but then occasionally a random good thing, like a Silent Rage or a Lionheart. Yeah, that's my go-to if I'm like, I need something to watch.
Yeah, I pretty much always look at Tubi first because there's like it's got like a surprising amount of like really good like 70s and 80s horror movies interspersed with a lot of like you have to kind of dig sometimes because like sometimes like a bunch of the shit at the very top will be just like 2019 whatever straight to video garbage that's on there, but their action
Elves too.
What? No. But yeah, fucking love it. Tubi is a lot of the stuff we do on this podcast.
That's great. Yeah, it's a gold mine.
Yeah, it's great. We running close to your time, so we definitely wanted to kind of discuss a little bit of like some of your work.
Sure.
We did Manborg for episode 100, and it was like the first time I was had seen like anything you or Astron 6 related, and in the middle of us recording the episode I bought everything besides Father's Day because I was just like, I fucking, this movie just speaks to me. I am in. Father's Day I just didn't get because the 4-disc Trauma release was unavailable, so I was just like, I'm waiting till something else comes out because I want like the full version of that.
I don't know if there's any other way to get it right now, and I don't know. I think there was a single disc DVD at one point, but I don't know. We have like no real contact with Trauma on that movie, so I can't really give you an accurate assessment of if there's other versions coming. So I mean, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I know. Eventually, I'll just buy it from somebody on eBay for $80 or some shit because I want it. But like, and I know there was kind of strife a little bit with Trauma that.
Yeah, I mean, you're more than welcome to torrent it. Like, we're not seeing money from.
Oh, I mean, I've watched it. It was on like Prime or something for a while.
Oh.
So
okay.
I've definitely seen it, but it was just the one that when I bought like the shorts collection and Manborg and everything else is just not there.
That's stupid.
I think I've watched The Void more than any movie in the last decade.
Too many times.
Yeah. It was a movie because like Kit, you donated to the Kickstarter, that right?
Yeah.
And
thank you.
Yeah, and Kit, I remember Kit talking about it, and I was like, I should probably like sit down and watch this. And for what, like, I don't like. It was after Manborg that I bought it, and I finally watched it, and I was like, I don't know why, but this movie speaks to me, and I'm fucking in, and it's just become like my comfort go-to for some reason that probably isn't good.
That's a different kind of podcast.
Yeah, I'll talk to a therapist about that someday. But yeah, so after that, we've talked about kind of the Astron 6 Kostanski verse a lot on this podcast, and like I think we've done what, Manborg, Leprechaun Returns, and then just the Psycho Gorman screener. Yeah, and so we're all big fans, and
thank you.
I watched the Day of the Dead panel. And cannot wait for that.
Yeah, looking forward to that.
Yeah, I mean, I had a ton of fun making that show. I haven't actually seen the finished result of it, but man, it was a real ride making that thing. We made it right at the height of the pandemic too, so there was a lot of anxiety about that going into my first TV directing job, and also being worried about everyone's safety.
No pressure at all.
Right.
And I feel also it really is true of every endeavor in my career, where it's there's always some crazy thing I gotta dip dodge around. Because filmmaking and TV making it's a grueling, hard job. But having said all that, it was super fun. The cast is awesome. The showrunners, Jen Scott, had a very like fun and unique vision for what the show could be. And yeah, I just like was happy to be a part of it and got to make all kinds of great zombies with Todd Masters and his company Masters Effects, and he's an effects artist that's been around since the 80s. Like he started on one of his first movies was Big Trouble in Little China, and yeah, he is a legend, and it was great to like work with him on all the effects. So yeah, it was a good time.
Yeah, I think we talked about it when it first got announced, and it's just like anytime news has come out, I think we've talked about it here because we're all like ready to see what that's gonna be. Because I'm like, I think George Romero, besides like John Carpenter, might be like my favorite filmmaker. And so I was like, at first I was like, Day of the Dead, like, and then it was like, oh, Steven Kostanski's doing like the first handful of episodes. I was like, I'm in. Whatever it is, I'm in. I'll watch it.
So, yeah, I mean, honestly, when I got that email to do it, I was like, I don't know if I want to tread in this on like Romero's legacy in any kind of way. But I feel like this thing is so unique and specific to itself that like, I don't know. I just had a lot of fun making it, which for me has always translated into something really fun and exciting to watch.
Yeah,
and it's very much in line and made in like without saying too much. I've had my wrist slapped a few times for talking about this show by Sci-Fi, so I don't want to.
yeah. I was like,
fair.
I think the thing that like really sold me on it too was during the panel where they were just like, "Are you guys?" I forget who said it. I think it was maybe the showrunner who was just like, we took it literally where it's a day, totally. So it's not really a remake as much as you guys are taking kind of like that idea and doing something different with it. Which is, I think, if you're going to remake something, like change it up a little bit.
Well, yeah, and this is a contradiction I find with the genre community is it's like people want more of a thing, and they want, like, if it strays too far, they don't like it, and if it sticks too close, they don't like it. Like, these Halloween remake where it's like the first half is a totally different thing and the second half is just Halloween again, and it's like different people seem to take issue with different things, so it's like a real tightrope to walk. And it's definitely like an added stress adapting a property and trying to like stay true to the spirit of it, and that's what I found is like trying to emulate the approach and the attitude and even just like the down and dirty like way of making it, to me was the most important part, and it wasn't so much about like just retreading ground that we've already. So yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see how it all pans out, but I know I'm super proud of what we did, and I thought it was a blast to make.
Totally. Katie, do you guys want to ask something?
Mike, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead, Katie.
Well, one of the things that we talk about all the time on the show is really gross food combinations. So like donuts with teeth in it and I don't know, chocolate onion smoothies. So my question is like, is there any weird food combo or that people think is really weird, but you just like absolutely love it?
Well, just the other day, my mom like, or it's supposed to be stuff that I like or hate, because I have one.
Well, if you have both, then that's great. But I'll take one.
One that I don't like. My mom the other day was trying to sell me on the idea of putting tuna in Kraft dinner, and that made me want to vomit. So that is a bad idea, and something I would not want to try. I don't know. I have such like lame middle of the road taste. I don't think I have anything that's like that'll blow your minds as like a potential fear factor for food. I don't know. I guess okay. This seems to be like a little bit of a Canadian one. But I don't. Where are you guys, by the way? Like, whereabouts are you located?
I'm in New Jersey. Kit's in Texas. Katie is in the process of moving to Florida.
Okay, so you're all in the U.S.
Scattered
Yeah,
about.
the U.S.
Yeah, all US.
So you guys aren't on board the ketchup chip craze, which is a thing that's big in Canada, I'm assuming. Like potato chips that are ketchup flavored.
Oh no, we have that.
Huh.
You have that?
Yeah,
Okay. I don't talk to people in the States and they don't have that.
at least
but
we have at least 2 or 3 brands at the store I work at that sells ketchup chips.
Okay. Maybe I had it wrong.
think it's well, I don't think that's like a wide. It's not like a wide, like you can't walk into just any store and have them. I've had them, but they were actually like a Japanese brand chip, so that's interesting.
Okay. Well, that's fancy.
Well, I like it, but Nathan makes fun of things that I like all the time, so.
I love ketchup chips. I've grown up on them. They're like my go-to snack watching movies. But I also, and this is the thing I inherited from my dad, is for some reason I like ketchup chips with sour cream, which a lot of people have like turned their nose. And being a thing that just like was normal in my household, I was like, what's wrong with this? So I don't know if that's even that weird. But like sour cream as a dip for chips, just plain sour cream, not any kind of like additions to it to fancy it up. But yeah, that's probably the weirdest thing that I eat.
Okay. I would say that's weird, but I would 100% try it, and I think I would probably like it.
Yeah. It's like, it maybe doesn't like jump out at you as like an immediate idea for a snack. But yeah, for some reason my dad was hooked on it and got me on it, and I refused to stop.
Kit, did you have anything?
I can't think of anything because I'm terrible thinking of questions. But I was gonna say, I just wanted to say, when I got my copy of The Void in after the Indiegogo campaign, I opened it up. The chunk of like monster flesh in there, I was not expecting, and it scared the shit out of me.
Is that a thing that we put in those Blu-rays?
Yes.
I didn't realize that was a thing.
I hope so.
I don't know, Kit. I don't know now.
Yeah. Well, maybe.
I don't know.
Maybe that's not what it is.
You may be implicated in some kind of murder case.
Yeah. Maybe I should just forget about that whole thing. Nathan, edit that out.
Yeah. All right, I have a question to go out on that is probably going to be impossible for you to answer, but favorite Simpsons episode / joke?
Ooh. I love the monorail episode. That one is a classic. But I always go back to the joke from the Frank Grimes episode where he's talking about his living situation. He's like, I live in a 1-bedroom apartment above a bowling alley and below another building. I don't know. Also, I love when follow-up joke to that one, when Homer becomes a clown and it's him and Krusty standing side by side, and they both look like Krusty, and the one gangster guy like rubs his eyes and goes like, I'm seeing double here.
4 Krusties.
And it's peaks to me.
Oh, it's so good. It's people shit on that Frank Grimes episode, and I don't understand why.
Yeah, I mean, is the attitude that's like when the show jumped the shark?
Yeah.
Or it's also like, it kind of is comparable to me to the Susan dying on Seinfeld episode, where it's like it gets like real dark for a bit.
Yeah.
And people just didn't like that. But I remember loving that episode at the time. The hard cut to his funeral is so funny to me, and only gets funnier. Like asleep and snoring at the funeral. Like, I don't know, like that kind of humor, like it's so mean that you have to laugh at it. It's such a cartoony scenario. So I don't know why people would be up in arms about that episode. It's great.
Yeah, it's so good. All right, well, we can't thank you enough for coming on.
Thank you very much for having me. That was great.
We'll do this.
Any excuse to talk about
We'll do this again on a full moon movie if you want, because
Yes, please.
yeah, we will talk about this shit all day.
I mean, I got that Puppet Master box set for signing up to Full Moon Streaming. I was like, this seems like a smart. So I'll be working my way through those at some point. So I want to do a Puppet Master.
Oh,
I'm game.
Always.
I haven't seen any of them, so I'm up for that.
Oh man, that is a journey.
That's the word for it.
It's only like 12 movies, Katie. You'll be all right.
Listen,
Yeah.
we did all the Leprechaun. It can't be that hard, that much harder.
I mean, yeah, I would say it'll be easier than Leprechaun. Leprechaun has some. That's a dark road. It's a big one, and yeah, it's tough.
I don't know. I do have a thing with like ventriloquist dummies and puppets, though, so it might be, but I'm down for it.
It's fun. The first 5 Puppet Masters to me are all totally watchable. They're very fun movies. After that, I can't really vouch for any of them.
All right. Thank you so much for coming on. This was fun.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah.
First, there was the collapse of civilization, anarchy, genocide, starvation. Then when it seemed things couldn't get any worse, we got the plague. The living death, quickly closing its fist over the entire planet. And then we heard the rumors that the last scientists were working on a cure that would end the plague and restore the world. Restore it? Why? I like the death. I like the misery. I like this world!
I got good news this time, Katie.
Yeah, there's a prequel
Whatever.
to Predator.
Oh, is there? Man,
Yeah,
that's gonna be
Apparently.
It's gonna be
Oh.
bad, but
it's called Skull.
Oh my.
That's not a joke. That's a real thing.
well, that's not the news I got. So,
Oh, well,
but we could talk about
2
that.
news
newses.
That I can't stop thinking about the little lamb child with
Well, that was one of them.
human hands.
Yeah, let's
I can't stop thinking about it.
So, news.
The lamb is everywhere.
We're gonna talk about Lamb, a
Lamb.
trailer that only Katie has watched. Yeah, new A24
I'm watching it
movie.
as soon as we're done here.
I am not going to. I'll watch it when it comes to Prime or some shit and just see it then.
See the lamb blind.
Yeah. I don't know what that movie's about. So
A lamb.
I mean, that's all I've gathered is about a lamb,
That's all you need to gather, I think.
a lamb with human hands.
They're disturbing.
Maybe it's just a human with a lamb head. Who's to say?
I don't know.
Can we talk about how Universal is paying $400 million to fuck up The Exorcist?
Oh my god. Why?
I don't know.
You know what? They can spend $20 million to fuck up The Exorcist and then give the rest to me. And that would be a much better investment, I think.
Yeah.
Wait, is this like the sequel you're talking about?
Yeah, they're
That's how
doing
much?
a
3.
trilogy
Oh.
because they
This escalated really quickly because last time the only thing I saw was that they were doing like a sequel to the original.
it's because they're following what Halloween did. Halloween's doing a trilogy. Exorcist has to do a trilogy. So it's gonna be bad.
Like, my thing is that, okay, like, The Exorcist is actually already a franchise. There's multiple
There's already
movies.
a trilogy and a TV show.
Right, and so I think, I don't know where I was going with that, except to say, like, the Exorcist is pretty much the only thing that anybody ever talks about, and so, like, I don't feel like do you guys feel like it's a big enough property that they need to be rebooting it like that? And that's so much money.
I don't think they need to, but it's definitely a big enough property to where I
Okay.
understand them wanting to do it. $400 million, no. But
Well,
I understand
yeah,
them
it's-
like, oh yeah, let's more Exorcist.
It's one of those movies where it's just like, I think it's the movie in the horror genre where like people would be like, we'll joke about them remaking like Casablanca or some shit, a movie that like is considered to be a classic and too good
Like
to
a
be remade.
pivotal. Right.
And like it's baffling to me that they're even going to try, because
I'm surprised they haven't done it already, to be honest.
well, I think it's because like I think you needed enough time away from the 2000s remakes for people to be on board, because if they would have tried this earlier, I think people would have lost their minds. Now people for some reason are like, this is gonna be fucking sick, and I'm like, you're out of your mind, this is gonna be terrible. It's gonna be just like fuck. It's because Insidious and The Conjuring and shit is so popular. That's why they're doing it now.
Ugh.
And it's gonna look like those movies, and it's gonna be terrible. What's not gonna be terrible is if they make a third and fourth Snake Plissken movie. Which
Escape from Idaho.
John Carpenter has said he has stories for, and I am in. Give me fucking 78-year-old Kurt Russell having to save the president again.
Escaping from the nursing home.
I will watch the shit out of whatever Kurt Russell wants to do after Escape from LA, which also rules.
What if it's just a video of Kurt Russell playing like NBA 2K? Like it's just a whole movie of him and John Carpenter playing 2K.
It's just him playing a video game version of Escape from New York. Death Riders in the House of Vampires coming out in August.
All right.
Katie's gonna have to watch a Glenn Danzig movie.
I'm gonna buy the 3-disc Blu-ray again.
I'm a little bit on board with this one. I don't think it's gonna be good, but like
It's 'cause Eli Roth is
I'm
in
willing. Listen.
Oh no, is he?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh
Oh.
yeah, he sure is.
Is he a Death Rider?
I think he's the house the vampires are in.
I'd be alright with that.
Rider. He is the motorcycle that they ride on. No, I'm willing to watch this one for other reasons that don't include Eli Roth, but
It's
Devin Sawa.
it is. You're correct.
I have faith that it'll be better than Veronica, but I think it's gonna be bad.
The premise makes it seem like it's probably stupid, but has the potential to be fun. So we'll see. I don't know.
That's gonna be a train wreck. I have no faith it's gonna be better than Veronica. I think it's just gonna be cooler to look at because it's cowboy shit.
Okay, well, and vampires.
Yeah.
The last news thing I wrote down is that Dee Snider is currently making a Strangeland sequel, I guess.
Oh no.
And I'm in. It better have the fucking dumbest new metal soundtrack I've ever heard.
It's just gonna entirely be that Vane album everyone was really into
I
like
hope
2 years
so.
ago.
I'm in. I hope it's just nothing but fucking Spine Shank. Or like Pitch Shifter or some shit. Alright. Do you guys want to talk about stuff you watched this week?
Blowout kicks ass. Everyone watch Blowout by Brian De Palma.
Hell yeah, what'd you watch before that?
What did I watch before
Ant
that?
Farm Dickhole.
Great question. Oh yeah, Ant Farm Dickhole.
Oh
That was
my
the same day,
God.
huh? Don't watch that.
What about you, Katie?
I honestly didn't watch a lot. I rewatched Crimson Peak. Absolute banger. I love that movie. I know it gets a lot of hate, but it's amazing. And I also watched Blood Red Sky.
Oh yeah,
And
Kit
I
watched
think
that too.
I actually liked it a lot better than Kit did. The thing that I felt was really strange about it is that there were a lot of similarities between that and 30 Days of Night, which I thought was so weird because we just watched that. So I feel like for me, I would have liked it even more if I hadn't seen that movie, because then I'm kind of like, oh my God, they literally, like there's a few things that are strikingly similar. And also, including spoiler and trigger, like, more dog murder. Stop murdering dogs. I don't want to see it. Anyways, I liked it. It was interesting. And then the only other thing that I watched, I think, was that we watched the skateboarding at the Olympics. I'm not going to give any spoilers because I don't know, some people can't watch it right away. But we watched the women's skateboarding today, and some of the girls were only 13, and they were amazing, and I loved them, and I cried the whole time. It was so cool. So, yeah, that's it.
I've been watching through the Demons movies that are not tied together, but some reason all labeled Demons movies.
Because they're Italian.
Yeah, it's extremely weird. So Demons and Demons 2, both incredible, very good. There's 3 or 4 movies labeled as Demons 3 for reasons I don't understand. One of them is a movie called The Ogre that was a Lamberto Bava movie that was a TV movie that sucks. I do not recommend. There's a movie called The Church, which fucking is incredible. Actually slightly boring, but has some pretty fucking sick special effects. Like the last 20 minutes of it rule, including a life-size fucking goat Satan thing that has sex with a woman.
Okay.
It's pretty good. I recommend watching that one.
What was it called?
The Church. It was directed by, I think, or maybe he's the guy. It's directed by one of the guys in Demons. I just can't remember who he plays in it, but he's directed at least 3 movies that are credited as Demon sequels.
Is it Michel Sovani?
Yeah.
Sovai. I'm sorry I butchered that, but yeah, okay, I see. I'll see it.
I watched pretty much everything on YouTube because that's where it was at, or where most of them are at. The one following that is a movie called Black Demons, which is extremely terrible. That is a quote-unquote demons movie in the Caribbean. So,
oh no.
I then watched The Mask of Satan, which was another Bava movie that was a TV movie that is supposedly a remake of Black Sunday from the 60s that I also don't understand how that was possible. It's not great. But today I watched The Black Cat by Luigi Cozzi. Cozzi, 2 Z's, I don't know. That is a sequel to Demons somehow. Also a sequel to Suspiria and Inferno, but meta because in the movie it's about people making a sequel to Suspiria and Inferno, and also a Poe adaptation somehow that I don't understand. But
The Black Cat.
It is pretty fucking good. It makes no sense, and nothing in it makes sense, but it's pretty fun to watch. So I would recommend that. It's extremely weird, and I found out from Dylan that the guy that directed it somehow got the rights to do a edit of Godzilla for Italy that apparently makes 0 sense that I'm trying to track down and watch, because I can't imagine what Italian Godzilla is like.
Incredible, I assume.
Yeah, everyone says it's pretty bad that has seen it, but I disagree that it has to be good. But yeah, other than that, I watched Cyborg and Ant Farm Dickhole for reasons. My shout out this week, same as last week's. I Think You Should Leave. Watch I Think You Should Leave.
Right now.
Yeah. Katie, what's your shout out?
Man,
Not moving.
Is it I think you should leave?
Yeah, say I Think You Should Leave.
It is. I think you should. Is that the skit that you sent earlier?
What's the name of the show?
I know, but was that the skit from? Was it from that show?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay. That's the only thing I've seen of it, so I haven't decided yet. Mine is just gonna be the two like singles, I guess, because I'll probably shout out. I finally listened to the new Deaf Heaven song, and it slaps. I love it. I know there's been
Hell
some
yeah.
controversy about it, but I think
No, always.
I like it
I mean,
even more.
there's a controversy anytime Deaf Heaven releases anything, regardless of if it was metal or not. So,
Anytime
know.
someone says it.
Anytime someone says Deaf Heaven, there's controversy about something. But like, I get this. I mean, it does sound pretty different. So I get why some people would be mad, but I think it's amazing. I love it. And then also, Thrice announced the new album and released a single, and I'm always on board for that. So yeah, check it out.
oh yeah, what about you, Kit?
I don't know. This is another week where I forgot to think of something.
I think you should leave.
I'm gonna
Orange
say,
Cassidy versus Sting.
I think you should leave
Yeah.
is going to replace Knowledge Fight for me for a while, I think. Or that's going to
Makes
be like
sense.
Knowledge Fight where it was just like every week.
Go with The Editor. The Editor is topical.
Oh, the movie's so
It
good.
rules.
Yeah,
Yeah, watch The
I
Editor.
think it's still on Shudder when we were recording this, so yeah, go watch that. The movie's fucking great. You can see Connor Sweeney nude in it.
Listen,
See some dick swinging.
I just already love him how he is, so I don't need to expose myself to it.
All right, next week, Grime Wave 3, Cockface Killer with Dylan.
Did you watch it already?
No, we're recording next week. It's funny because the way this just worked out. I said in Ant Farm Dickhole that we're doing it, so now it's 2 weeks in a row. Kit, hard side having to fuck.
Oh,
Because
okay.
I have seen
Yeah.
it. I screened it for a horror film festival, and I fucking hated it so much.
Wait, you saw it and then Nathan bought you a DVD of it?
Hell yeah.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
I was like, don't buy me that. I don't want a copy of that.
You can burn it.
And then it showed up in the mail, and I was like, son of a bitch.
You can fucking throw that shit away. I don't care when you're done.
That's so funny. I donated my freezer burn. I hate to break it to you.
I'll keep it mine.
How dare you?
Yeah, so everybody, I have an announcement. This is my last episode.
Katie's kicked off because she doesn't know how to pronounce Eben.
Yep. Ebon.
Ivan.
No, I mean they already know because you were.
What did I say? E-Bomb's World.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ebon's World.
Katie wasn't on last week's episode. Now she's here this week, and she won't be here next week. The way this fucking worked out. But yeah, Katie's moving.
Yeah. So. Yeah, I'm womp. I'm moving. So
Katie,
I'm bowing out gracefully of Cockface, whatever it's called. So
She's moving to Tromaville.
Yeah.
Yes.
Katie will be back for Monster.
Yes.
Perfect.
Yeah.
A perfect return.
You can subscribe to our Patreon at patreon.com/I Hope You Suffer podcast. I don't know.
Angela Bassett.
Yeah, but this is like 2 weeks after that, so I don't fuck it.
Oh.
It doesn't matter. Yeah, just listen to our bonus episodes.
New episode thing will be Keanu Reeves.
Yeah. We don't have movies picked yet, but probably Point Break 3 times.
Probably The Lake House 3 times.
You could buy our merch and shit at our storefront here in Teesprings. Links in our Instagram bio. Our Instagram is at I Hope You Suffer Podcast. Follow Kit at Hidden Kitstery. Follow Katie at Werewolf Face. Listen to my other podcast, Nate Kate Movie Club. Thanks again to Stephen Kostanski for talking about Cyborg with us.
A king.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't want to be mad that I watched Cyborg twice, but I don't know. I got to hear dude screaming for 10 minutes twice, and that's what a fucking perfect ending.
Incredible.
I hope you
Couch.
Don't look down on me.
Is that how we ended the last episode too?
Don't look down on me.
Maybe. I don't
Oh
remember
no,
what
I think
said.
we did. I think you should leave. I don't remember.
Yeah, I think you're right.
It's been like an hour, and I already forgot.
Yeah.
All right, Friday night.
Thinking that we just might.
All right, I'm ending it there.